gym across the street today, trying to get my mind right to do this show. What I'm trying to say is I have no animosity towards wonderful Sacramento and all the great people who are going to endure this. However, the only reason that I am here is to do this. This is all that matters to me. So please, don't help me. Please, please, I'll help myself. Thanks. I hope that got through to you. So anyway, so today I was watching the CNN and the MSNBC and the Fox News, watching different spins on this information how my president-elect seems to love Vladimir Putin. I guess nothing works. Like, what is it, alcohol? Or just kind of overzealous enthusiasm? What is it, sir? Are you helping? Wait a minute, I get it now. I'm Chuck D, and you're my Flavor Flav. Is that it? That's great. Okay, and so hopefully I will get this show back on track anytime soon. And so I've gotten used to really stupid things coming out of the mouth of the president-elect. I've gotten used to the new American haiku, which seems to be the tweet. A word that is so embarrassing to even say. Mark Twain and any person of literature is spinning in his or her grave right now that we say the word tweet, that the President of the United States in like 3 weeks communicates to me, the American people, via tweet when he doesn't like what Alec Baldwin does on Saturday Night Live. A man who is so incredibly thin-skinned, he can't take the merest insult. Here's the great thing about being the president. The First Amendment allows all of us to wail on the president like a Singapore caning. And traditionally, all presidents have to be able to endure that. People piled on George W. Bush like it was free spaghetti and for beating up on the guy. I had a wonderful time piling on George W. Bush. I don't have any animosity towards the guy. I actually bought his autobiography and read it cover to cover. It was a Crayola coloring book for adults. No footnotes, no index at the back, nothing. But when you read it, getting mad at him would be getting mad at a Labrador Retriever. You can't do it. You can't do it. And like he comes off as a really okay guy with a lot of really scary people around him. But he could take a shot, and every comedian went off on that guy. And I concentrated on him because of his use of the English language, which I'm fascinated by because it's the only language I have. In that I'm not multilingual. I wish I was, but I'm not. And so I love to hear when famous people don't talk good. And watching George W. Bush speak was just fascinating. And I've never been so inspired by a president. I'm very inspired by President Obama, but I was even more inspired by George W. Bush to be smarter, to read more, to travel more. And several years ago, I was on my Bon Jovi mobile in Florida, and I'm watching the president, George W. Bush, address members of NASA. And he's speaking, he's going off script. No, do not go off script. Mr. President, you're not good at it. English and talking is not your forte. And so he said, I'd like to thank you, spatial. And I thought to myself, he must mean S-P-A-C-I-A-L. And there is no word for, there's no S-P-A-C-I-A-L. There's S-P-A-T-I-A-L, which means basically having to do with space. Okay, but he said, you spatial, and he just let it hang for 2 agonizing blank seconds of TV. And everyone's thinking what they could have advertised in those 2 seconds. Everyone from General Electric to Quaker is like, oh my God, I could have sold 8 tons of oatmeal and tablets for illnesses you'll never have, like restless leg syndrome. What's he doing? He is running through his mind, trying to find a word to put after spatial. And you can see, like when you had the slow computer and the wheel would turn, and you try to open like Microsoft Words, like, hold on, I'll get there. Where like 10 seconds of the wheel feels like a freaking eternity, right? And you see him like, spatial, oh no, what kind of verbal cul-de-sac have I gotten myself into? Damn it, I'll put anything into this. There's a dead cat there. And he says, you spatial ... entrepreneurs, and my espresso shot out of both nostrils. And I said, Buying and selling space? What the hell do you mean by that? And I thought I was the only smarty pants in the entire world who caught it. And I went on stage hours later, I said, spatial entrepreneur? And I went back to the bus after the show and I went back to the internets. And I typed in spatial entrepreneur, and there's already a website up with a graphic of the moon with a dollar sign on it. And that's not the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make is every comedian and many, many citizens of countries all over the world outside of this one had a really good time wailing on George W. Bush. To his defense and credit, he took it really, really well. He understood that a president gets bucketed on. It's what happens. And one of his greatest moments was when he was protested in front of one of his speeches. A guy threw a shoe at his head. And instead of going, a shoe, he went, good shot, partner. I mean, it was so badass. I'm like, damn, that guy's cool under pressure. And so we have a president now, who, a president-elect rather, who can't handle it. Here's the point I wanted to make. This is not something new. What you're seeing in American history is a repeat. And what the big powers of that be always want to do to the wonderful people of this country is install trickle-down economics. It is what it is, that the masters, the benevolent masters, give you the crumbs that fall from their mouths, and you should be grateful. And that's why when they say you don't deserve minimum wage, that is as nice as these people get. They are not your friends. They never were your friends. They never will be your friends. And so you, in just my opinion, you should act and vote accordingly, because these people are hostile and they want people basically making it this much and before they finally keel over. Here's the other teeny tiny thing I wanted to point out, and I swear I'll get off the topic because you know all this stuff. There's a guy, he fell out of the press cycle very, very quickly about 72 hours ago. His name is Jason Greenblatt, and he has been a lawyer for Trump for about 20 years. He's a very, very intelligent guy. And Donald Trump wants to give him a special position in the Trump administration, the special representative for international negotiations. That is basically the role of Secretary of State. And so what he wants to do is put in an auxiliary or deputy Secretary of State. Why? To do back channel deals, because he's also a businessman and a president? Or is he trying to negate the role of Secretary of State? The president-elect also wants to not use Secret Service and use his own private security. This is my theory. I think Mr. Trump wants to privatize a public office, and basically he wants to separate himself and his accountability to you and me. And some of you may have voted for this guy. He is now Comrade Trump as far as I'm concerned. He's Putin's butt buddy, not mine. Okay? And so if he wants a fake Secretary of State and security that doesn't have to account to our government, what is that really? I don't know what it is. It feels like some kind of tumor going into the American body politic. I don't like it, and I hope Congress neutralizes this going forward. I am not angry about who America elected to be president of the United States. That's American democracy. It's a free-for-all. I vote, and I'm used to getting what I want, and I'm also used to losing. I just like to keep coming back every Super Bowl Sunday and putting my vote in there. And I'm not freaked out when I don't get what I want, because I'm in America for the long game. I love the place, and I think that eventually we get better as we go on. But the thing that really bugs me is the fact that 45% of eligible voters did not vote this time around. This is a real drag to talk about, so I'll get off it in like 2 or 3 minutes. And that might describe some of you. You're big, sexy, switched-on adults. I don't get to say, shame on you for not voting. You make your own damn decisions, okay? I mean, obviously you do. And maybe this time around, all four of the basic food groups, the Green, the Libertarian, the Democratic, and the Republican, were not appetizing. You just couldn't hold whatever it is you hold closed to vote this time around. I totally understand that. I get it. Hillary Clinton was a very heavy lift. She has no charisma whatsoever. She has all the information. She doesn't sell it very well. On the other hand, Donald Trump sells it very well. He's funny up there. He likes being up there, and people like having him up there. The other two, I must admit, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to. But that's just me. I was concentrated on the big league. And so maybe some of you didn't vote for whatever reason. It's your reason. and I respect it because I respect you, but I hope that next time around you're not part of that 45%, because I think Jefferson would approve if all of us who can vote did vote, as nauseating as it can be in this country at times to vote. You're like, they're both bastards. What the hell am I going to do? Find the bastard you hate the least, and that sucks. That's a really bad proposition. My opinion is you really got to do it. And here's an example of that problem. The other day, weeks ago, I bounced out of South Africa. I landed in Los Angeles via Frankfurt, Germany. Don't do that one twice in a week. It's like 2 11-hour flights back to back. Yes. Anyway, I went from Johannesburg to Frankfurt to Los Angeles, had a moment to basically wipe the blood out of my mouth and go right back to the airport and go to Dallas, Texas, and then to Fort Lauderdale, Florida to pick up the aforementioned Def Leppard Express that's chugging away outside to start this leg of the tour. And so I'm on the flight from Texas to Florida, and I'm in a 2-seat row. I'm in the aisle seat, and sitting next to me is a young man, and he turns to me and smiles, and he introduces himself and says, "I'm 20," after he tells me his name. And I don't know why he gave me that factoid. I said, okay. I said, "My name is Henry. I'm 55 and a half. And thank you, because that's exactly what he did. And I said, "What's so funny?" He said, "What are you, 9? I said, "I just told you my age. I'm 55 and a half. And he said, "No one over the age of 9 gives the fractional amount of their age." I did not know that. I was going for exactitude as best as I could. Unsurprisingly, our conversation died immediately. And so the plane takes off, and the air flight attendant informs us that we can watch the second presidential debate, if we want, on the tiny screen that's whacked into the seat in front of us. And I watched the first one, and it sucked. It was nothing but insults and interruptions, and I wanted no part of watching it again. The second presidential debate was the one that distinguished itself as being the one where apparently Mr. Trump stalked Secretary Clinton. Like he's walking around. He did not stalk her. He was bored because it took longer than 15 minutes, and that assaults his ADD. He can't handle it. And so after 15 minutes and no way to tweet, so he was just like, needs to be over, needs to be over, needs to be over. He wasn't stalking anyone. And the next day when I was on the Def Leppard Express, I watched Wolf Blitzer try and deconstruct the stalking tendencies of Donald Trump by bringing on a body language expert. There's a ridiculous job. And like they have stills of Donald Trump and Secretary Clinton on stage. And he's like, well, when you see Mr. Trump leaning slightly forward, that shows a messianic worship of his father, a rejection of the mother, and he was obviously penetrated by a relative. Shut up! Shut up, you little weird Freudian nightmare. And so that was that debate. And so I'm thinking to myself, do I destroy 90 minutes of my life watching this made-for-TV WWE political smackdown? Like, because the first one sucked. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. But I've been reading a book all day, and I'm bored of reading the book as I want different stimulation. So I'm thinking, oh no, I'm doing it. And I plug in and I start watching the debate. And the young man is watching the debate as well. And at one point he taps me on the shoulder and I unplug my little earplug. I said, yes. He said, I really hate to disturb you. It seems like you're watching the debate really intensely. I said, young man, I do everything intensely. He said, if you don't mind, I have a question. I said, ask away. He said, they keep turning the camera to this old man with white hair. I went, that one right there. He went, yeah, that one. Who is he? I went, that guy. Who's that guy right there? He went, yeah. I said, his name is President Bill Clinton. And he went, oh, yeah. I've heard of him. Oh, good. What a relief. Okay. And so then he asked me, how many terms did he get? I said, well, he got 2. He went, okay. Could he have gotten 3? I said, well, no, not since FDR. He went, okay. What's FDR? I said, well, I call FDR Franklin Delano Roosevelt the 32nd President of the United States, who served in office from 1933 to 1945 and died in April of 1945, starting his fourth term in office. And in 1947, I think it was, the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution went through Congress. In 1951, it went through the states, thus limiting a president to 2 terms of 4 years. And the young man looked at me like, wow, you know a lot of stuff. I don't actually. I don't. I barely got out of high school, but I know that I'm free to run around the great garden of knowledge and get a facty fact here and a thinky thing there, because I want context. I want to understand where I am in my country and how we got here at all times. Also, I pay taxes here, and I just want to know stuff. And he went, wow, did people like Franklin Delano Roosevelt? And the way he nodded with the syllables, there's no way that was not the first time he put all of those sounds together in that order. And the way he got through Delano, and he was so happy that he got through it, he looked like he wanted a cookie. And so he said, did people like Franklin Delano Roosevelt? I said, that's a very interesting question. Some people liked him, some people hated his guts. He said, why? And I said, he ushered in a thing called the New Deal reforms and gave birth to a thing called the American middle class, which got a thing called the American dream attached to it, where you could be a good person and go to work and keep your nose to the grindstone and do your work and buy a house one day, or at least put a down payment on one, and you could get a gal and you could start breeding because you make enough money to feed the offspring. And one day you're going to own that car you go to work in, and if you keep on keeping your nose clean and applying yourself, you and your wonderful and ever-expanding family can take 72 hours every other year and go to Hawaii and go, wow, isn't it great? And then you can retire and still have enough money to do things in your life without going to work every day, like hiking and fishing and playing with your grandkids and remembering who your wife is before you die. And that's the American dream. He said, and people were angry at Franklin Delano Roosevelt for that? I said, absolutely. He was seen as the anti-business president because you have to treat workers better, and bosses hated him. He said, do you like Franklin Delano Roosevelt? I said, now we're awake. That's the most interesting question I've been asked this quarter. Let's talk. If I could wake him up from his eternal slumber, I would like to ask him some very direct questions, and I would like to get very direct, simple answers back. But by and large, yes, I'm a fan of the guy, especially 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act, which enforced a 40-hour work week, time and a half for overtime, and abolished child labor so the kid doesn't go to the mill anymore and have his finger torn off his little hand like some character in a Dickens novel. And this young guy is looking at me like, wow, I gotta learn this stuff. I said, young man, you live in a country that is so great that you can be technically and functionally illiterate and still have credit debt, a house you can't pay for, 3 cars you can't pay for, and 4 children with 3 different women. And Visa will still be trying to extend lines of credit to you. On your deathbed, in a hospital with tubes coming out of your body, the Visa guy will put a credit card on your heaving upper chest. Like, just keep on spending, keep on. But I'm dying. Just please, one more expenditure before you go. Do you want me to get you to Amazon.com? Here, I can get you there really, really easy. At your funeral, they will bury you with a Visa card in your cold, dead fingers, hoping you will come back alive and claw yourself to the Earth's surface and go spend more and hurl yourself into even more credit debt. That's what you can get away with in this country. So learning things, that's an elective. You don't have to know anything in this country and you'll still get by. That's how amazing America is. And he went, wow, so I guess it's all up to me. I said, everything is up to you. Don't you know your history? You are the decider, okay? So I said, it's all an elective, son. And he said, should I vote? And that's the problem. So as far as that 45%, I flew next to that guy. I flew next to one of the 45 percenters. And he was 20 years old, a really good guy, and asked me, like some weird alien thought, should I vote? Like it never had occurred to him before. And so I turned him into my special priority for the rest of the flight. There's nowhere he could go. He can't climb out the window. So I turned to my right and I talked at him for the entirety of the flight until we touched down. And when we got to the baggage carousel, he got his bag and he ran. He ran from it. He couldn't wait for it to be over. And after I'm done with you tonight, you'll feel the same way.
Come back again.
It's not the America elected, it's all the people who didn't show up. And so hopefully we fix that next time around. And I don't care if even 99.9% of Americans vote and I don't get the person I voted for. I just want the truth. I want Jeffersonian transparency. I want a vigorous electorate. I want all the lights on and I want to see all the furniture and all the people in the room. Doesn't matter if I get what I want. I don't care. I care more about honesty and transparency. That's all I'm after. If I don't get what I want, I'm like, ow, for like an hour and a half. I just get on with my work. You know, like life's short, just get on with things. I've been alive since the John F. Kennedy administration. I'm still here. And so my mom, to the left of my mom, was like Joan Baez in a wall. And she was a government worker. She worked for health, education, and welfare, and then she worked for another organization called National Education and Planning. And my mom's whole life in government was trying to make American public educational delivery systems really deliver for young people. And her whole life was education. And she had a lot of berate, goateed poet friends who would drink Gallo wine on the weekends and listen to Pete Seeger songs and sing Michael Row Your Boat Ashore. Men with large turtleneck sweaters. These were my mom's friends. When Nixon became president, they all thought the sky was falling and everything was like, oh no, we're all gonna die. What do we get from the Nixon administration? We got a really good book where the movie is actually almost as good as the book. It's really, you should read All the President's Men. I read it like every 4 years. I don't know how many times I've seen the movie. It's so good. So thank you, Nixon. Thank you for giving me such. Robert Redford was so good in that film. Come on, he was great in that film. Anyway, so here's what really assaults this country. It's not an elected official. It's you and me. And why is it that in this country, this amazing country, in 2016, we still have ancient bigotry and ignorance like homophobia, racism, and misogyny? I doubt it's any of you who are the perpetrators of this. And if any of you are racist or homophobic or misogynist, congratulations on that weird, deep, dark, sunless crack you live in. You need an Al Green record in a book. I don't know what I can do except try and help from that angle. I don't think you need a barrel slat upside the side of your head. I think that'll make you reinforce your stupid thinking. But if any of you are that way, you should realize that you didn't come up with any of those prejudices. And if you are prejudiced in any of those ways, you are in the worst cultural cover band of all time. Your version of Louie Louie sucks. And no one digs you. And there's no garage we can put you in where you're quiet enough to where you are not an irritant and an impediment to forward movement. But I bet it's not any of you. And I know it's not me. So who is it? It's old bastards. It's old, crusty bastards with dumbass ideas who have brought them into this new century like 40 dead rats in a canvas bag. They just dragged them in. And so I want things to get better. And what I'm about to propose to you sounds like one thing, which is what it is. But I wish I could pose it in a way where I could sell it as something else. I'm not saying you need to take your grandfather to Minneapolis this February and leave him on a corner to freeze to death. But I kind of am. Why do you want me to die? Because you keep voting, and you keep coming to my place on Thanksgiving wasted on vodka, like spewing all this homophobic, racist crap, Sig Heiling the fireplace, where you finally Facebook on the living room table is the only time we get a chance to talk as adults. I don't want to die, I know, but you keep talking. Your influence of the nephews and the nieces who come over like, I promise to never talk or vote again. Good! We'll put you in the attic, and will slide chicken soup under the door 3 times a day. But like, why are you censoring me? Because I want science and the future immediately. I want it now. Like, I'm cold. Not for long, Grandpa. Not for long. The last 5 minutes of your life will be dark and oddly euphoric as you go out like the guy in the Jack London short story. But no, I'm not saying kill Grandpa. But Grandpa's part of the problem because the thoughts are old. And as an example, there's a guy in America who's very, very talented. He's probably within a few hundred miles of us right now. I know he's a Californian. His name is Clint Eastwood. And as an actor and a film director, he's about as good as it gets. But when he talks, he says some really, really bad stuff. And earlier this year, in April, in Esquire magazine, they interviewed him because I guess he was promoting his Sully film. And they said, so you're voting for Donald Trump? He said, well, yep, America needs to change and he's the guy. Fair enough. But what about all the racist things that Donald Trump says? He says, he does say some racist things that I disagree with, but people need to get over it. Hi, I don't want to get over it. I don't want to get over anyone's racist crap. I just don't want to like, you're cool, except for the racist thing. Now, can you imagine when the president-elect becomes president in a few weeks and he has to go international? Eventually, he's going to travel. I can't wait to see the 2-shot of him sitting next to German Chancellor Angela Merkel as she vomits into a bucket 4 times before she can even say his name. And now as the president of the United States, hold on, I'm so sorry, it's really gone. Hold on. And now, ladies and gentlemen, say, no, not time of this. I can taste the eggs from this morning. Dry heaves and body juices coming from now. And so, I don't want the perception of racism representing me out in the world, but I've got one. And so then Mr. Eastwood said, people in America walk on rice paper because of political correctness. I don't think that's true. I don't think political correctness really exists. I think some people finally make the gut-wrenching decision to call out their friend, their relative on the racist, homophobic, misogynist crap that continually comes out of their mouth and finally like bring them to terms with it and put their feet to the fire, and rarely does it end well. Like if you're with your friends and you're driving somewhere and you go by a gay bar and there's some people milling around out front and one of your friends yells at the top of his lungs, "Hey, what's up, faggots?" He said, "What did you just say? You didn't hear me? What are you, deaf?" "No, I heard you. Why did you say it?" "Because it's a fag bar and there's some fags out front." And I was saying, "What's up? What's the matter with you?" "What's the matter with me? I lost the gills on the side of my neck. I lost the twitching tail. And my love for the primordial ooze my ancestors were so happy to splash about in for the last 4 centuries. I want renewable energy. I want a solar panel on your face right now. I want things to get better." Like, what are you all into censorship? No, I'm into social evolution. And if you keep talking like this, I can't be your friend anymore. "Oh, it's like that, huh?" "Yeah, man, sadly it is." "Well, then let me out right here." And you never see that guy again. And so I don't think there's political correctness. I think there's some people like me, and maybe you, I don't know, you get to do what you want. But some people, they want to get going. They see the future and they want to run at it, not mosey up to it. And so that's just me. Anyway, so me and Mr. Eastwood, we disagree with that. And then Mr. Eastwood said, when I was young, the things that Donald Trump says were not considered racist. Mr. Eastwood, when you were young, there was no definition for gravity. And there was such thing as penicillin. So don't tell me how great it was when you were young, when everything was manual. I want ice cream. Phone call. Water from the well. Stop. Modernity rules. It's really, really good. We're really smart now. And then he said something that I thought was really, really interesting. He said, it's a generation of pussies. It's a pussy nation. We live in a generation of pussies. As soon as he said that, as soon as I read that, I saw the t-shirt, Generation P. P-Gen, the younger, smarter, more culturally aware generation, Snapchatting and taking high-resolution JPEGs of their pudenda and sending it to their friends. Pudenda being the Latin for the naughty bits, for those of you who ran out on that class. And so I admire P-Gen. I root for you, P-Gen. I wish I could be P-Gen. I can't be part of Generation P. I am too old to be P-Gen. In fact, I have more in common with Clint Eastwood than I do with any of you. That is to say, I have more years behind me than I do ahead of me. But I root for you, P-Gen, with a trembling, liver-spotted paw from the sideline. Please save the world! And I've come to the conclusion that I'm reaching the edges of my existential crust. In that I hang out in places and I watch people a lot, airports, coffee places, and I watch young people, which is pretty much everyone in this building compared to me. I watch young people and how adept they are with their laptops. And I can type. I taught myself. I bought a computer many years ago and kind of started working it out. I probably type very inefficiently because no one learned me on that. And I watch younger people, they can do 9 things and type. And they type with such disregard for the keys because they know exactly where every single key is. Yeah, I'll have 2 of those. And like, meanwhile, the words is coming out, perfect punctuation, and then the laptop jumps up and runs out of the coffee place and comes back with the guy's laundry. And I'm one of those people, at my age, I can talk to anyone. Young man, how did that laptop know how to leave the coffee place and come back with your laundry? The young guy with his beard and his ponytail, he is so bored of me already. He's like, I'm putting him to sleep with my stupid inquiry. It's called GoGetMyLaundry.com. I can put that on my computer. Sir, you can put it on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet. Like these tablets I take 4 times a day. Anyway, I can't be P-Gen. And I don't want to get in the way of progress. And so if I try to run with you, P-Geners, I will only keel over and be like a sack of potatoes in the lane as you run, and you'll trip over me or be otherwise impeded in your effort to make the world better. And so I have reconciled my role, because I don't want to not be part of the gang, but I can't run with you without being in the way. So I'm going to get out of the way, but I'm not going to be uninvolved. I reckon my job from the age I am now to my last breath is to clear the lane as best I can for you to lead. Because I can't run as fast as you, not intellectually, not physically. But I can take the shot. I can stand on the side and let these people run into me, and I can keep them off you. Because I've been in front of well over 3,000 audiences. I've been on stage for about 36 years. There is hardly anything that has not been thrown at me. Ashtrays, pint mugs, innuendo, dirty looks. People have put out cigars and cigarettes in my legs to see how high I could jump. I have had parts of my body lit on fire by people hoping to warm me up with their lighter. I mean, all kinds of things have happened to me. From the collarbone to the top of my head, I don't know how many sutures have been in my face. If you were to shave my eyebrows, there'd be nothing but stripes of scar tissue from all the fists with rings and the boots. I've had my ass kicked by pros all over the world. I've been concussed where I'm lying on the stage like, having to get up and finish the set, trying not to pass out or vomit. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not a tough guy. I've just taken the shot for many years, and there's nothing you can do to this at this point except kill it. You can't make it any uglier, and you can't make it shrink anymore. Okay? The osteoporosis is setting in. I am AARP. Okay? Every morning, I wake up at 04:30 hours on my micro bunk on the Bon Jovi mobile, just feeling the Grim Reaper's scythe go right by my ear. My eyes open so quickly, I can hear the snap of my eye. Awake! Seize the day, and I go running out of the Bon Jovi mobile to the nearest Denny's to get my Melba toast and poached egg. Seize the day, because you never know what... So I will hold these people off. Thank you. I will hold these people off you as best I can if you lead. And maybe that's an agreement that you and I can strike in some form or fashion. I'll do my best to keep them off you if you will not sleep on the job. Because like I said, I can't think as fast as you, I can't take information as fast as I used to, and I can't run as fast. but I can sure enough take the shot. And so maybe that's a way we can get up the road. If you notice, if you've ever suffered through any of these shows that I do every few years here at the wonderful Crest Theater, I never point out a problem that I don't have at least 1 to 3 solutions to. And I will admit that many of my solutions are hopey-changey, hopelessly naive and utopian, and looking for a tree to hug. But I never point out a problem without pointing out the silver lining. And I think with the devil's America right now, it looks like a big, dark cloud. But I think the silver lining outweighs the mass of the darkness, in that it's not a black cloud. Imagine spray painting an apple black. The amount of silver lining is the inside of the apple. The bad part is about that thin. And what's the solution? The solution has always been, it's not a president, it's not law, it's not legislature, it's you and me. It's always been the individual. And we is an interesting idea. I don't think Homo sapiens can do it for very long. We can sit in this theater for a couple of hours, and then we want to get the hell out of here and go do other things, because we are Homo sapiens. We are high-functioning creatures. So we is good for an afternoon. We gets through a movie, but then we're back to I. And so I'm interested in you, the individual, not what we will do, what you will do. And I can't wait to be impressed over and over and over. And you have the entirety of my optimism. I think America is going to be just fine no matter who the president is, because you are here and I am here. And that sounds kind of corny, but that is all. That's it. That's all I've got. Because other than that, I have run out of ideas. I don't know. You can't make someone read. You can't make them get a passport and travel so they can find out the world is not as terrifying as they think it to be or want it to be. And so here's another problem in this country. We have a problem with perception, in that we think everyone is this, well, if you voted for Donald Trump, you must be an idiot. I think there's a lot of smart people who just couldn't vote for anyone else, they voted for him. We might disagree, but he's not a stupid person. But we might think that. All liberals are lazy and they eat pizza, smoke weed, and watch the Sci-Fi Channel. I bet that's not true, but there's a lot of perception. So here's a quick story about perception. Many years ago, I was a temporary New Yorker. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I've been living in California since 1981. But my bandmates were New Yorkers, and they said, move to New York, move in with us, and we'll all write songs in the Lower East Side, in the East Village. And I had no problem. So I moved to New York to get an apartment at 2nd and 7th, right down in the East Village. And one day, I walked to band practice in 1995 or 6, somewhere in there, and our band practice was at a building called Context Rehearsal at 1st and A. And so I walked to band practice, and I get there at 11:50 for a 12 noon band practice, and I get there early, because I put the punk in punctual. And so I'm there playing. That's funny. I've never said that before. Anyway. And so I'm in band practice early, and I'm in the front green room area. There's like a lounge where there's like couches and seats. And I'm standing there waiting for my bandmates to walk in, and I notice I'm the only person there except for a man, a light-skinned African-American male, shaved head. He's wearing a suit, open collar. I believe he had sandals on. He looks like he just walked out of the pages of the summer issue of GQ magazine. He looks like a male model. He looks at me and nods. I nod back, and then he stands up, and he keeps on going up. He's very tall, but everyone's tall to me. And so he's like, I'm like, wow, that's a tall man. And he walks over to me and says, you're Henry Rollins. And I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, I'm a big fan of yours. I said, thank you very much. And I stuck my hand up to shake his hand. And he shook my hand, and he looked down at me, and he said, I am RuPaul. I was like, oh damn! I said, man, I've been a fan of yours ever since someone pointed you out to me in the magazine. I was looking through like Vanity Fair magazine, like in 1991 or 2, and someone said, you see that person? That's a guy. I was like, damn! So I said, I've been doing some reading up on you, man. You're really, really cool. I think you're punk rock. I think you're really, really brave to be a tall black guy in America wearing a dress and a wig. He said, thank you very much. I said, do you remember 1985 when you and I were on the same cover of a fanzine called Neighborhood Threat out of Atlanta, Georgia? And it's 2 photos on the cover of the fanzine, and on the top of the fanzine was you, and you've got like paint on your face, and you're holding a torch or something, and it says, RuPaul, sex freak. And underneath the photo of you was a photo of me looking like I just got dosed on Thorazine. And it says, Henry Rollins, Hex Creep. He goes, I have a copy of that. I said, I have 2 copies in a Mylar acid-free archival environment. I am that guy. And so we find out we are the same age, and we have all these common reference points. We both remember when Frampton Comes Alive came out, stuff like that. And just my opinion, I think RuPaul is a great pillar of American civil rights. I think to be a black guy or anybody, any guy wearing a dress in this country, after no time, someone will walk up to you wanting to give you some freedom, like right in the face. And there's no way RuPaul hasn't been chased or teased or been threatened with death or a really good bloody beating. And I think in the world, people can be very mean to LGBT folks and autistic folks and artistic folks, and they say, you can't play in our reindeer games because you're obviously wrong about everything. And so, like, you'll piss off. And sometimes these people, the family doesn't dig them, no one in school digs them, and they turn on themselves, they self-destruct or kill themselves. I think RuPaul has kept some people alive. Like someone on the edge, they say no one likes me, but there's RuPaul standing there defiant in his fighting gear and his wig on, I'm not leaving. And maybe some people looked at him and went, if you're not leaving, then I'm sticking it out too. Maybe, maybe not, but I think so. And so, I've always been a fan of the guy ever since I heard of him. I just think it's a tough hang to be dressed up as a woman and as a guy and comport yourself on the American streets. And so we're getting along very well. He's very, very intelligent. He's really funny. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, this is a really good day. I mean, like, it's amazing to have met this guy. My bandmates come into band practice and says, fellas, that's RuPaul! They're like, whoa, it is RuPaul! And they all shook his hand. And to this day, all of us are still friends with RuPaul. It's a friendship that lasts to this day. And every great once in a while, RuPaul, out of the blue, will email me. Hey, Henry, it's RuPaul. I was thinking of you, and I'm hoping you're having a good day. RuPaul. I am so uptight and tightly wound, I don't know how to handle a letter like that. I don't know what to do. And so I stare at it as I pace back and forth in my office looking at it. So I can't delete it. That would be rude. I don't want to be rude. But I don't know how to answer it. You hope I'm having a good day. I'm having a day. I'm going through time. With every inhalation and exhalation, I am that much closer to death. It's neither good nor bad. It is just what it is. What part of existence do you not get? Save your Christmas card. They're lost upon me. If I can't eat it or produce it, I don't want any part of it. But I know that RuPaul has nothing but the best of intentions. And I know that I'm just a black-blooded evil bastard and I must get better. And so after an hour of thinking, what do I say? I sit down, RuPaul, thank you for your inquiry as to my existence. By the mere fact that I'm writing you back should be demonstrative of the fact that I am, for the most part, operational. Please remember and never forget the most important aspect of me. I am always ready to die, son. If you had written someone with the best of intentions and said, hey, I hope you're having a good day, and they wrote you back that pile of self-involved Nietzschean crap, you would never write that person again, would you? RuPaul writes me another few months later, Henry, I know, you're existing, and you're always ready to de-exist. I just hope that your existence is good today. And so he is trying to make me a better person. And I would like to think maybe it's working. Anyway, he does this every once in a while, and it's always good to hear from him. He's just a really good person. And so years ago, he wrote me one of those emails. He said, hey, I've got this TV show called RuPaul's Drag Race, and I want you to be a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I wrote him back immediately, and I said, RuPaul, good to hear from you. See, I'm fine. RuPaul, good to hear from you. Thank you very much for the invitation. However, I will decline. And I sent that, and he wrote back, and he's asked, are you angry? I hope I have not offended you. Do you have a problem with men in skirts cavorting about? And what I wrote him back was a 1,500-word treatise on judgment and how much I don't like to be in judgment of other people. It makes me nervous because I don't like being judged because I am neither thick-skinned nor am I thin-skinned. If I was thick-skinned, anything said to me would have the same resonance. I like you, ding. I hate you, ding. That's not working for me. That's just being insensitive. I might as well just be a bag of hammers. If I was thin-skinned, everything would be a slight, real or imagined. Hey, Henry, it's Wednesday. Where are you right now? I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous. And so, instead of being thick or thin-skinned, I am real. And so when you say something mean to me, I don't go, ding, it gets to me, because I'm human. And if you say something mean to me, I go back to my micro bunk on my Bon Jovi mobile, and I ball up in the fetal position, and I trip on what you said for the next 7 hours. Like, what do I do? Stomach hurts, I'm never gonna eat again. I'm not gonna sleep. What did I do? And so I don't want to be in judgment of other people. And I've done my best to resist, and we do it anyway, that's what humans do. But I do my best to resist any formalized job of judgment. And I get some pretty nice offers. Every once in a while, the Warsaw Independent Film Festival will contact me. Henry, here's the pitch. First class flights to Warsaw and back, 5-star hotel, big eats all week long, and you watch 10 independent films with a panel, and you pick first, second, and third place, and then we fly you home. What do you say? And I write back, thank you very much. I love Warsaw. It's a beautiful city, and I will decline. And they write back and they say, but Henry, it's like free flights and a lot of food, and you get to hang out and take photos and go, wee, 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 I'm somebody. Why don't you want to do it? Because I've been in a bunch of independent films, and every single person in independent film works really hard. And the idiot who put up the money, who will never see a single dime ever come back, will go into spiraling credit debt for the rest of his or her life. Everyone on an indie film kills themselves trying to make that thing. And the person who made it, he moves back into his mom's garage for the rest of his life. Rarely is there money to get the thing edited, and if it gets edited, rarely is there money to get it distributed. There is no way I'm going to look at an independent film where everyone bled out of the mouth to make it and go, that sucks. Even if it sucks, I'm not going to say it because I saw so much effort being put into it. I just don't want to do it. And I get folders of music from young people. Henry, we are screaming death from above, and we live in Idaho, and our songs are all 37 seconds each. No more, no less. 37 seconds, even if we have to stop the tape recorder. And we have just sent you 150 songs, dude. We want you to listen to every single one. We are playing in our garage so hard, we bleed out of the mouth every day at band practice. And if we don't, we smash our faces into the garage door until we do. So we want you to listen to every single song, dude. It's like only 11 minutes. And we want you to critically break down every single song and advice on where to go next. So I play a few of the songs. And at worst, it's mediocre, where it just kind of sounds like the guy's record collection. Do you think I'm going to write back some 15-year-old kid who is high on rock and roll and giving everything to his band in the garage after school and say, I've listened to your music and I think it's mediocre? Do you think I'm going to do that? And like, what result will be derived from that? Call me mediocre. Okay, I'm gonna get up at 4 in the morning and play my guitar all day. I'm gonna become the best guy in the world in music. I'm gonna destroy your entire legacy, Henry Rollins. You should not have woken this tiger of rock.
Yeah!
I doubt that will happen. It'll be like, wow, I sent him these songs that I really like, and he burned me. What a dick. And I have a lump in my throat, and I guess I'm gonna have to post this on Facebook and send it to all my friends. And I used to like that guy, and so I have to write back something where I cannot lie. But if any young person is applying his or herself to music, there's always something good you can say about it. And so I write back, and I say, sounds like your drummer's really into it, and sounds like you guys are giving it everything you have. I said, advice? Here's my advice. If you're practicing 5 hours a week, practice 10 hours a week. You can never practice too much. And here's the other advice I'd like to add to that. Hold on to these MP3s. keep on playing, keep on writing, and just keep going for it, and play these MP3s back to yourselves at band practice 1 year from now, and see if you have not kicked the ass off these songs by sticking with it and going forward with everything that you have to the point of total obsession. And it sounds like you guys are really, really into it, and I'm so glad you picked up guitars and not machine guns. Now, treat the guitar like a machine gun. Go. And that's what I write back. I have not lied, nor have I said, wow, you're going to be the next Black Sabbath. You're just so great. I've just said, rumble, young man, rumble. And that's a way to give encouragement without saying, you're great, now go sit on your ass. And so I don't want to do that. And so, like I said, I don't like judging. And so it took me 3 hours to write this well-considered treatise on judgment. And so I wrote all of this to RuPaul. Remember, that's the story. And so I sent it back to RuPaul, and he wrote me back, and he said, Henry, you are the most serious person I have ever met in my entire life. What do you mean? Anyway, he said, Henry, I'm afraid you're not having enough fun in this life. You're damn right I'm not having enough fun. I don't want enough fun. I want to operate on a fun deficit. I want a profound happiness deficit as well. I don't want to wake up happy. I want to wake up startled because someone threw a bucket of ice cold water in my face at 3 in the morning and screamed at me, not only was that your shower, it's also your breakfast. Go. That's what I want. Happiness. I'll lose my edge. I don't want happiness. I want orders. I want discipline. I want obligation. I want a gig every night at 8 p.m. hanging over my head like the sword of Damocles, which puts me on a treadmill running for my life, not to screw this up. That's what I want. Happiness will destroy me. I'll find a couch and I'll be unable to get up. So I don't want happiness. So RuPaul says, I'm worried you're not having enough happiness and fun in this life. Don't ever worry about me, even when I'm dying, because you know that's what happens eventually. So he said, Henry, I know you're always ready to go, and you hate fun and happiness, very scary. But Henry, as a favor to me, your pal, RuPaul, please be a judge on the show. There is no, he knew he had me. There is no way I'm saying no when RuPaul asks for, a favor. Because he's such a good guy. There's no way I'm saying no. You got me. And immediately my stomach starts nodding up. I'm like, I'm going to judge a bunch of men cavorting about in skirts. And I just don't want to do it. I don't know how to judge men in skirts. How do I give that a grade? Anyway, I show up. Days later, I'm sitting with the fellow guest judge and all the regular weekly judges, and RuPaul in his fighting gear, and the drag queens come out and they're doing their thing, and my fellow judges are cheering and they're laughing and they're having a really good time. Not me. I've studied concentration on my face as I grip my trusty steno notepad and take furious and copious notes. The pirouette was very circular. I've written the word pirouette before. Make sure I'm spelling that right. Nota bene. Wish I had a highlighter at this moment. Note to self, do not leave home without one on your shirt collar. It'll make you look even more ridiculous with the glasses and the pen on shirt collar. I give this pirouette a 9.5. Why? Why am I giving this a 9.5? I've never assessed anyone else's pirouette. I've never walked by someone pirouetting and someone... That's a 3.5. That pirouette is from hunger. Get it together. I've never done that. So why am I giving this a 9.5? So I mark it on the bad judge, okay? That kick was very high for a man of his age and vascularity. Maybe he does some first position plies for the elasticity. What am I writing? No, this is all stupid. Meanwhile, the drag queens quickly see that I am the only one giving them my undivided attention. And so they turn me into their special project. And now they're all staring right at me, and they are coming on with a doon, Me? Yes. And it is reflective in my notes. The drag queens are really pouring it on now. The intensity has ratcheted up considerably. May I add, at this point, for clarity and semi-comedic weight, that I am heterosexual. And the reason it has some comedic currency is because the older I get, the funnier that seems to be to people. I'm a straight male. Oh, that's so cute! It still has a pulse. Like, doesn't he need some Metamucil and a lie down? And so, when I was younger, and my hair was dark and I had sap flowing freely through my veins, I could say, I'm heterosexual. But it would rumble, like roar from my mouth by me just mentioning it, like, I am hetero man, coming down from mountaintop in spring like Zarathustra to pollinate all the ladies who wait, quivering with anticipation in the valley below. Ladies, don't worry, I have massive supplies, and none of you will be left wanting. How? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because I am hetero man! Thank you. Thank you. However, at 55 and a half, I can yell that at the top of my lungs, but it comes out sounding like I'm coming over there, testosterone factory. Is that soup? Things are different. So I'm a straight man, wide awake, knowing that I'm watching men in skirts dance about. However, I start to feel a change in my body. I feel the 5 drops of blood that remain in my lizard body start migrating to the central region of my body. And I have to radio down. No. Stand down, stand down, stand down. False flag, false flag, false flag. And they hear the demand. And then a minute later, so I'm trying to judge while I have an arm wrestling match with my orientation. Like, no! It cannot be! These are men in skirts, but the skirts are very short. No! And it's just also reflected in my notes. I don't know who's writing in the steno notepad now. It calls on a desert island. Which drag queen would I want to be trapped with? Obviously number 3 because of her legs. Who wrote that? Who are you right now? And so mercifully, lunch happened. And so I'm eating lunch with RuPaul, and we're sitting in some storage area behind the set. And we're sitting on milk crates, there's some improvised seats, and we're both eating salad. And to watch RuPaul in a wig that is so tall, he almost needs a chin strap to keep it from falling over, and all his fighting gear, and his false eyelashes, and his whole outfit, to watch him eat salad. It was amazing and surreal. So I'm talking to him. I said, RuPaul, I am a straight male. However, these drag queens are very, very persuasive, if you know what I mean. And he looked at me and said, you've got a dilemma. Yes, but here I was thinking that I'm this male who likes women, but apparently I am a Homo sapiens who appreciates a Homo sapiens in a short skirt smiling at me. And that's all that needs to happen. Short skirt, woo! And I'm in! And so, along that train of thought, I guess I could staple a skirt to my couch and never leave the house again. What's he doing in there? I don't know. We slide SpaghettiOs under the door. All we hear is like every 7 hours we hear, he's been in there for a year and a half. He seems to be doing just fine. And so the rest of the day was very, very challenging. And so I drove back to my house that night thinking, wow, I have so many things to consider. Gee, RuPaul, thanks. Thanks a lot. Like, I don't have enough on my mind. Anyway, it was an interesting afternoon, and the drag queens are really cool. And so, like I said, RuPaul keeps in touch with me. And a few months ago, I was between legs of this tour, and he wrote me and said, hey, I've got this new TV show that I do where I put someone in my car, I put a microphone on them, and I drive around LA with them, and we do their errands, and I videotape it, and I chop it up into content, and we make a show out of it. Do you want to be a guest? I went, yeah. He said, when? I said, tomorrow. He said, 10 a.m. Deal. So the next day, RuPaul comes to my place in his 80-year-old Fiat, and he puts a microphone on me, and we're going down the driveway of my house. And he looks over at me, and he says, why do you have a notepad in your hand? I said, for the errands that we're going to run, so we go to all the places in the right order. And he said, you took me serious about running errands? I said, RuPaul, who are you in a car with? Of course I took you seriously. I spent 3 hours last night producing an errands run. It is a beautiful model of efficiency. It is a clockwise boomerang that leaves the driveway, goes all the way around, and comes back. It's all right turns into parking lots. It is fantastic. I ran it at 02:10 hours this morning. It is great. And he realizes the trick he's driving is like, oh, okay. And so I live alone, which is probably not that surprising. I reckon myself to being a Siamese fighting fish in a bag. Look at it, don't let it out, it bites. And so I live alone. I'm also a creature of habit in that I like schedule, I like routine. And so I do the same thing on the same day, coffee here, food there, groceries there, boom, boom, boom. And if anyone was to say, Henry, why don't you go to the Trader Joe's at Ventura and Laurel in the San Fernando Valley in Studio City on Friday at 1841 hours instead of Thursday at 1841 hours? Get out! I can't handle it. And so I do the same thing because I must keep on schedule. And so the only time I break discipline is the time I go into all these places where they all know me because I'm a creature of habit. I go into these places with a 6.5 foot tall black body. And everyone in there who knows me loses control of their facial expressions and their body language as they try to be a billboard for equality, tolerance, and happiness that I finally have found someone. We walk into these places and you're like, and in the Trader Joe's, I'm so dependable. They can break in at new employees. Like they're breaking in a new employee on Thursday at 18:40. Oh, come here, watch this. It's 18:40 and 40 seconds. In 19 seconds and counting, Henry Rollins will very likely burst through those two doors with the oldest Trader Joe's reusable bag you've ever seen. It's too cheap to buy a new one. We've offered one for free. He says, don't worry, this has another few decades of viability. Watch him run through the Trader Joe's, getting 3 cans of minestrone soup, 1 bag of spinach, 1 bag of avocados, 1 bunch of bananas, and 1 bottle of low-calorie salad dressing. The only thing that stops him is what he calls food gazers, people who just stand and look at food, and they always stand in front of the food that he wants to buy. And you'll see his right leg start to twitch because he wants to kick him in the ass so hard that he goes into a better point of view into food acquisition, not food contemplation. Anyway, he'll be at the register in like 1 minute and 11 seconds with exact change in his hand. It's like $11.71, and he always has it in his hand. And if there's a product price raise on anything, he's got auxiliary funds in his back pocket. He bags his own groceries. He's out of here in like 2 minutes and 11 seconds. It's unnervingly precise. Okay? 4, 3, 2, don't let me down. 1. There it goes, look at him, look at him. So that's me. I'm really regular. But now we're going into these places, me and RuPaul. Like, hey Henry, who's your friend? That's RuPaul. That's cool. Closets are for hanging up coats, not for living in. I've always said that. And, right on to you and people like you. I didn't mean it that way. I mean, I'm just happy that you found someone. I didn't mean it that way. But everyone should just be themselves. You know what I mean? I certainly do. We've been talking for 71 seconds. Can you ring out my groceries? Oh, yeah, right there. And so you see how everyone's trying to be cool and they're really, humana. This happened in every place we went into. Thanks. Anyway, finally the errands are done. And RuPaul said, how would you like free lunch? Oh, free food tastes better than real food. I'll take free lunch off a course. I was so happy. Free lunch? I'm so hungry. There's a great place in West LA. It's a Japanese restaurant. You're going to love it. I said, I love it already. And so we're driving west on a street called Santa Monica Boulevard. I'm sure many of you have visited Los Angeles. Santa Monica Boulevard is a main artery, east-west, and it ends in the ocean. It goes right to Santa Monica and just goes right to the sand. It's done. And so right before Beverly Hills is a place called West LA, also known as Gay LA. And that's not a put down. It is proudly Gay LA. The flagpoles have the rainbow flag fluttering. The lawn that bisects eastbound and westbound traffic is perfectly manicured. The sidewalks are immaculate. The stores are amazing. And the people on the streets of West LA are some of the most beautiful people in a state full of beautiful people. They are so exfoliated. You can almost see the antioxidants coursing through their bodies. Yoga mats walking down the street. These are Pilates bodies. These are ads for Nike. Just do it. Get up and run up that mountain through the fog. That's who these people are. And you'll see 80-year-old men looking like Tarzan. Some octogenarian man in nothing but sandals and gym shorts. How do you look like that? Young man, I do 85,000 ab crunches every morning. Why? Because the weekend's coming! Wow! So people are alive. And so we drive to West LA and we park in this massive parking structure and we come out onto the north side of Santa Monica Boulevard, which is teeming with pedestrian traffic. The wave of euphoria that we unleashed upon those people on that day, no doubt, they are still talking about us now. People look at us, because we're both instantly recognized, people look at us like they've just been hit with a stick. I said, RuPaul, don't look now, but I think we've become a power couple. RuPaul looks to his left, and everyone on the side was like, yeah! And so we eat the lunch, it's really good, and he drops me off at my place, and I go back to work. And within 3 hours, emails start coming in. The best emails I've ever gotten. I had so much fun answering them. Henry, dude, I'm dying in the Midwest, in my living room, with all of your albums in my Sonic Youth canvas LP bag, debating whether I need to go to the youth store and sell them. Dude, tell me you are not dating RuPaul. I'm not handling this well, dude. Can you hit me back ASAP? I'll hit that kid back in about 3 hours. I want him to twist in the wind for just a little while. But what I want him to do is play the catalog one more time, looking for all the gay inferences that no doubt are speckled throughout said catalog, waiting for him like Easter eggs on the White House lawn. And so he's going to listen with a new ear, an ear for the gayness that is being withheld from him for all these years. And so he's like, listen, you damaged one, damaged two. Okay, you're gay, so you're damaged. And since you're gay, you have to have part two because it's cabaret or something. Okay. My war. Oh, my gay war. Of course, no one likes because I'm gay. I'm gonna fight back. So man, okay. Can't decide if I'm gonna come out of the closet or not. I get it. Indecision, right? Right, okay. Oh, dude. Slip it in. Oh, no. No. Okay, low self-opinion. Okay, no one likes me, so I'm gay. Got it. Oh, come on. How come I didn't figure that out? Liar! Where was I? That's what I want. And so finally, I write this young person back. Dear young person, thank you for your inquiry. As far as RuPaul and I, it's a new relationship. And so we're just going with the flow right now because we don't want external factors to in any way determine what this thing is going to turn out to be. However, the weekend is coming, and I think by Monday, the kid's mind is blown. Whatever he's going to write and put on his social network page, let him do it. And so a few hours later, another email comes in, very, very similar. Dude, tell me you're not dating a dude. Oh, dude, no, dude. I mean, I'm not hung up like that, but I guess I kind of am. Dude, oh no, dude. So I write dude back a few hours later. Dear dude, fisting gets a really bad rap, no doubt, from that awful scene in the movie Caligula, and certainly not the way I like to be woken up or surprised. However, with the proper preparation, it can... And so this is when I have fun, because my rationale is this. If you initiate contact, and if you're going to be that, I get to do whatever I want. So I get letters like that, and I also get unbelievable amounts of hate mail whenever I stand up for LGBT people in the LA Weekly, Circulation 9. I know no one reads it, but I write for the LA Weekly 1,000 words a week for over 6 years, and I've never missed a deadline. And so sometimes I say, hey, you're beating up on these good people. Why are you doing that? The hate mail I get is voluminous and immediate. F you and the horse you ride in on, you faggot lover. And I always write back, first laugh of the day, just send that right back. And like I said, me writing a F you too, that doesn't do him any good. I don't care. He's not making me feel bad about myself for sticking up for LGBT people, because that to me is the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments of the Constitution defending same-sex marriage, etc. It is what it is. But to me, this is how I fight back. This is how I fight back inside my own borders, trying to make America great. Because maybe that person says, you're laughing at me? I'm gonna have a man meltdown, and maybe that leads him to some better conclusions. Probably, he just buys another Ted Nugent t-shirt and hates me even more. I don't know, but there's nothing in me that makes me want to write back, well, F you too, because it's not funny enough. You have to, if you're gonna write someone that, it better be funny, or don't even bother. That's how I feel anyway. Here's something. Many weeks ago, during the first presidential debate, no, I'm not gonna go into it, I'm just referencing it for a second. Hillary Clinton said that she had been to 114 countries, and I was impressed by that. I was impressed that she knew countries, which inspired me to count up all the countries that I have been to, because I didn't know. I knew it was a lot, and so I counted them all up. I'm about 14 countries behind her. I will overtake her, and I will, and this is not a pissing contest. I am Johnny Quest Jr., and the world is my oyster, and I go far and as wide as I can. Why? Because I'm trying to understand the human condition. I like to see people in different parts of the world, tribally, culturally, ecologically, as fiscally, how people are getting along. And 2 Novembers ago, no one wanted me, and so I had some time. And so I called my travel agent, Rita, who has retired, but she comes out of retirement for me. And she is retired. And we have a running joke. I call her, Rita, are you still retired? She was like, not when you call, honey, because when you travel, it's always interesting. Where do you want to go this time? I said, I have November off. I want to go alone, with just me in a backpack, Central Asia, me and the stands, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. I already spent a lot of time in Kyrgyzstan, so I said I'll leave that one alone for now. She went, wow, no one goes there as a tourist, are you sure? I'm like, now I really want to go. You've just thrown down a telephonic gauntlet, woman. Book it. And so I spent a lot of time in Central Asia a couple of Novembers ago, and here's a thing that I found, and I think it's a danger anywhere in the world, the danger of tradition. And there's some traditions that I like. One of my traditions is every Friday, if I can, I play the third album by The Damned called Machine Gun Etiquette, because it's a perfect 37-minute slice of rock and roll. Before you came in tonight, I was playing it in the little economically designed dressing room right over there, because it is Friday, and that is what I do. That is tradition, but no one gets hurt. There are traditions that happen in the world that is just old-ass thinking. And like I was talking about an hour ago, it is old ideas that are going to bring a new world down. And as this world morphs and changes and mutates almost hour to hour with technology and our bright minds, old ideas, I'm not saying to destroy them and throw them out, but they must be looked at for their relevance. And if they don't work anymore, they should be documented and shelved. And so I saw a ritual when I was in Uzbekistan, and I was in a small part of Uzbekistan, and I was with a tour guide named Ali, really cool guy, and Ali had great English, and we're walking through a mosque and buildings around. It's a tourist attraction, kind of, but it's a holy site. So you pay your money and you go in. It's a UNESCO rebuild, so it's part old, part new. It's like an Islamic Disneyland. It's beautiful and it's new, but it's old, but it's new again. So we're walking through, and Ali has every fact of the known universe about this. That tile is 1,400 years old. It was unbelievably beautiful. So we're walking out after 2 hours of the knowledge, and I start noticing something. I said, Ali, I've got a question. He said, what? I said, there's wedding parties here. Look, there's a group of people and a woman in a wedding gown. Wedding gown, wedding gown, wedding gown. And these women, it's cold weather. It's late November in Uzbekistan. It's very, very cold. These women hardly have any clothes on. A lot of skin is exposed. These wedding gowns. And they're standing there freezing with a bunch of people around them. And I said, what is this? He goes, it's wedding season in Uzbekistan. It's Saturday, so there's going to be a lot of weddings. I said, why are there 12 wedding parties here? There's people with cameras, people with boom boxes, and people are dancing. He said, well, it's part of the day. In the morning, you go to a holy place with all the family members, and you sanctify and wish the wedding good luck by making merit by going to a holy place. And then there's the ceremony, and then tonight, dancing, vodka, and the celebration. I said, there's an interesting bit of body language happening amongst the wedding parties. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, look at that couple over there. They're in their 20s, they're all over each other, they're happy, they have a tactile familiarity with each other. They've obviously been naked, and look at they're groping each other and everyone's happy. But look at that couple, that couple, that couple, and that couple. They look to be like 16 years of age. They're standing next to each other, this young boy, young girl, utterly terrified. They're making no body contact. They're not looking at each other, and their faces are paralyzed with fear. And I'm like, what is that? He said, those are all arranged weddings. You're very, very adept with your observation. And I said, what do you mean an arranged wedding? He said, well, sometimes there's two big families and they've got money. They want to keep the money inside the family. So you marry into that family and you get a job at your father-in-law's factory, and that way he knows that his little girl is taken care of and you'll be taken care of, and that's it. I said, but they're not in love. Look at them. They're just standing there. He said, yep, and by tomorrow morning, neither of them will be virgins. So I said, so what is this? These kids have no say in this? He went, nope, it's the way, it's tradition. I said, your tradition sucks. I said, so what's the fallout from an arranged wedding with these two terrified 16-year-olds? He said, those two are probably 15. I go, kids get married when they're 15. He went, oh yeah. I said, so what happens? You know, what happens? Alcoholism, suicide, and divorce. But mainly misery. I said, why would you want to put misery on your kids? Like, it's tradition. And I said, you need to change your tradition. And that's when I thought, I've never thought about tradition the same way again. This is why I travel. I want to get lessons like this. I want them to come up and smack me in the face. I don't want to get it from a book. I don't want to get it from a documentary. I either want to write the book or make the documentary. So you might watch it and go like, damn, I want to go. But I don't want to watch the documentary and get my information. And that's why I travel all the time. And so I usually travel to places where there's been a war, or there's going to be an election, or there's been a lot of turbulence, because I want to see how people deal with that. And what I have figured out from many, many years of traveling is that trauma is generational, in that if you traumatize a generation of people, something happens to their DNA. And I'm not a scientist, obviously, but they pass on the trauma, and the trauma gets passed on to where these people, who've been traumatized, they start to oppress themselves. And I've been to Russia 7 times, and I've seen it in Russia. I've seen it in parts of Africa. I've seen it in parts of Eastern Europe. I've seen it in Central Asia. I've seen it in North Korea. I've seen it in Saudi Arabia, where people just spank themselves. Like, what are you doing? Why are you flagellating yourself? And I was like, it's just what we do. We're born into this pain. And so that's why I think we need to think better, travel more, and be more bold and brave in our thoughts. And so I took a break from traveling to slums and souks and bazaars and slums all over the world, and I started doing some eco-travel. So I want to start understanding what we are doing to the planet. And so last year, I spent some time in Ecuador, living with a ship full of scientists and gentle eco-travelers, and I hung out with freshwater dolphins and monkeys that chase you through the forest and piss on you whenever they can. And they love to piss on you. They throw sticks at you and they piss on you. And the urine is very tangy. I got a drop of it. I was hearing the urine, like go down these leaves. I'm like, wow, damn. That was a monkey just pissed in my mouth. How much do you want for that? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And so I started doing eco-travel, and I started scuba diving. And many of you sexy Californians, you have water fairly close by. Many of you scuba dive. It's quite a revelation. I know it's not for everyone. They get very claustrophobic. Me, I feel very relaxed underwater. And I hate to give animals human attributes, because it's just cheating them out of what they are. But every fish I've ever encountered on the many scuba dives I've done now all remind me of Don Knotts. Like all kind of terrified. And they come right up to your mask. And if they had a thought balloon, they'd all be saying, I have to live here, but you? And the revelation was of doing all this, like walking through rainforest and seeing all these bugs and seeing all these beautiful animals and checking out all the critters underneath the water, is every animal is checking you out as much as you're checking it out. And I will use any excuse I can to use my headlamp. I've had a headlamp in my backpack for, about 10 years now. And I started using a headlamp when I started traveling to the more drier regions of Africa where there's no lights at night. And now I travel with one all the time, just because I want any excuse to use one. When I take out the trash at my house, I use that headlamp. Just because I can. Sometimes I turn off all the lights in my house and use the headlamp to get to my kitchen. I recon my own kitchen. Because this is bitchin'. I'm the all-seeing eye. I have no fear. I am master of the night. Anyway, when I was in South America last year, I did a lot of night hikes through the rainforest with my headlamp on. And I'm at the back of the line with Diego, one of the naturalists, and he liked me because I like critters. I like bugs, I like snakes, I like snails, I like all that stuff that crawls around. And so he would test me. We would put our headlamps on a tree. He'd go, okay, Henry, please to find every single animal that is on this tree. Go. And usually, I'm pretty damn good. I'm like, okay, tree frog that's in denial. I'm not here. I'm not here. No, you're right there. You can't see me. Nope, you're right there. Slug, snail, bug that looks like it's 1.5 pounds with a dog in its mouth. And I can pick out a lot of things, but you missed spider, leech, ding, boom, boom. And so he's really good. The thing that I noticed was every time you put your headlamp on an ant on a snail, on anything, they all acknowledge the light. Like there's a thing in South America called the conga ant, and some of you brave travelers have encountered them. They're about 2 inches long, and they're terrifying. They're out of some hellish nightmare. And if you put your headlamp on the conga ant, it stands up and confronts you like, what are you looking at? You're like, damn, I'm sorry for disturbing you, Mr. Conga Ant. And I always liked nature, and I've always been humble in front of it. But when you start to understand that any critter you step on in its own way says, ow, it's a pretty good thing to be able to have as you go forward in this century that's getting warmer and smoggier as we go. And so last year, in November, I had November off. This is like not Central Asia, this is last November. So I call Rita, knowing I've got November off. I call her in advance, I go, Rita, are you still retired? Not for you. Where do you want to go? I said, November, Antarctica. And she started screaming, you've got to go in November. You've got to go in November. I said, okay, calm down. Why? The penguins are breeding. I said, well, it's more action than I'm getting, so. She said, Henry, I have the best trip for you. It is the most boring trip in the history of Antarctic travel. It was made for you. I said, what makes it so boring? 5 hours of lectures a day, hardcore science, biodiversity, codependent ecosystems, and global climate change. It is so intense, Henry. You're the only person I know who I would recommend it to. What do you say? I said, the boringer the better. Bring it on. And so I leave. Eventually, I leave Los Angeles. I go to Texas, down to Buenos Aires, down to Ushuaia, southernmost city in the world, in Argentina, right down the road from the Falkland Islands. And I jump onto this ship full of amazing scientists, like hardcore environmentalists, bird experts, whale experts, seal experts, history of Antarctica experts, and a bunch of eco-travelers. And I find the difference between me and my fellow travelers almost immediately. They're all very, very wonderful. All of them, almost all of them, were all penguin freaks. Henry, are you stoked? We're going to see penguins. I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with these people. I'm the only person on this ship, except for 1 or 2 other travelers, traveling alone. They all thought I was weird. Henry, we noticed that you're traveling alone. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm able to travel without being attached to someone else. I'm crazy, I can just go alone all over the world, just a backpack and no fear of death. They're like, wow, you're really, really weird. I'm like, bingo. And these people are very, very nice, but they all have saved their money for the penguins. Like, Henry, say it with me, penguin, penguin. Like, I will not show Henry. How dumb question, Henry. How many times have you seen March of the Penguins? I've never seen it. Henry, I have it on my iWatch. You want to see it? Not today. And so they would grab any scientist on the ship, like Annette, the whale expert from Germany. Annette, we're going to see penguins, right? And every single scientist, no matter what their speciality, they would ask about penguins. Like, I know you're the history expert, but we are going to see penguins, right? And you see the same look of exhaustion on the face of every single scientist when someone says penguin. And this is like, sir, you're going to see so many penguins. Your fat head is going to spin off your skinny little neck. They don't say that, but you can see it in their face. There's something about penguins that wears out the scientists. They don't hate penguins, but there's something about penguins that make them go, oh, penguins again? So anyway, the first 4 days, there's no land to fall on, and all there is lectures, and I'm in every single one, notepad out. I'm taking notes. It's the best. And I spent time alone in my cabin trying to throw up as we go through the Drake Passage. All my fellow travelers, the Drake Passage knocks the ship around very violently for days. They all travel with a Dramamine patch on their neck so they don't throw up. I went without a patch. I wanted to throw up. I wanted Mr. Creosote Density. I wanted Linda Blair Arch. I wanted to see how much I could puke. It didn't work. And I would stand outside holding the side of the ship as the ship goes slamming into waves, going, come on, nothing. And the only witness to them trying to hurl was a bunch of albatross that glide next to the ship. I am one of the many bastard children of John Cleese of Monty Python. And so when I see an albatross, you know it's coming. Albatross! I yelled that at least 150 times alone, thinking I was the funniest thing that ever happened in Antarctica Peninsula. I thought I was hilarious, to the point it was the same damn albatross every day. Like, we know what we are, thanks a lot. Albatross! Anyway, I'm going to all the lectures, and all the lectures are amazing, but all the lectures are really depressing, in that whales and seals were hunted and slaughtered damn near to extinction of the species because the hunting was not regulated. And the toughest lecture every day is Bob, the geologist, an ultra-alpha male who speaks in clipped Hemingway-esque declarative sentences. He is the sayer of doom. There is no silver lining in his global climate change cloud. And he calls you down for lecture time. This is Bob, the geologist. Come down to the lounge now. And you go down, there's like, thanks for coming. Sit down. Okay. The world's dying. Yes, it is. There's no denying it. Don't believe anything you see on CNN. They're baby stepping you. The world is coming to an end. Believe a scientist like me. I've devoted my whole life to the end of the world. Slide number 1. Katabatic winds pushing the ice into the water. The water is warm, it's melting the ice. Where do you think that water is going to go? You think it's going to just sit there and be like, I'll just sit here, I'm warm water. No, it's going to go to your house. It's going to go to your house, and you're going to die drowning. Why? Because the world is getting warmer. And whose fault is it? You, all of you with your air conditions and your cars and your airplane flights, including this vacation. Look out the window. See the ice? You better look at it really hard, because 3 years from now, all that's going to be gone, and it's going to be in your living room. You're going to die underwater. Catastrophic sea rise will be 30 to 60 feet. It's not a joke. Don't believe anything you read in a magazine. I'm telling you the truth. Slide 2, there's another way we're all gonna die. By slide 5, you hear people weeping in the audience. By slide 10, people are handing a katana blade, like, your turn. He's so depressing, and he's so
awesome.
on it. And so after the lecture's over, I'm here all afternoon if any of you have a question. People go like, vodka! And they run out of the place. Except for me. I'm that guy with the steno pad, heavy with ink. Bob, I have another question about the ever-expanding sea ice at the bottom of the world being indicative of the world getting warmer, but Fox News personalities say it's indicative of the world getting colder. Please straighten me out. Sit down. I hung out with Bob every single day. We bonded. To this day, Bob still sends me the most intense and depressing articles on global climate change. Read this now. I did and had to live in my mom's attic for a week and a half. I mean, he's heavy. And so for 4 days, there's no land to fall on. Finally, day 5, there's an island we can go meet some penguins. And so the lead scientist, this woman from Australia, she goes, all right, everyone, we're going to meet penguins today. So come down to the lounge to get the How to Meet a Penguin lecture. You feel the boat rumbling as people are running down the side. It's like, free pizza and beer. Go! And so everyone's like, this is what I've been waiting for. And the rules are very simple. Penguins do not acknowledge any predators on land, so they will walk up to you. They might peck your boots, hoping your rubber boots are food. Do not talk to the penguins. Do not pat the penguins. Do not hug the penguins. Do not steal the penguins. It is breeding season. It is Antarctic spring. You might see the females standing by their nests. You might see the males gathering stones to build the nests. You might see males engaging in procreative behavior. It is their island, not ours. It is their endangered environment, not ours. Please be very careful. Their droppings are red. You will see what we call penguin highways going all over the island. If you are walking and a penguin is crossing your path, you stop and let the penguin have the right of way. It is their island. We are not there to traumatize these beautiful and endangered animals. This is all, we get it, we totally get it. And after an hour of basically being told, don't freak out the penguins, we're ready. And so we get in our cold weather gear, and we get on the back of little rubber boats to go to Nico Harbor to meet a bunch of Gentoo and chinstrap penguins. I think it was Nico Harbor. Anyway, I'm in the back of a rubber boat with a net, our German whale expert steering the boat. And we go into this cloud of fog. I'm like, oh, the stench is more intense than the first 4 Black Sabbath albums being played at the same time. I mean, this is like, ha! And after about another minute, my lungs are hugging themselves close. Like, please don't put any more of that in us. So I said to Annette, let me take a big fat guess. That's the smell of penguins. And there's that look. You said you wanted penguins. Oh boy, are you going to get the penguins. And so that's the smell of penguins. And a minute later, you are losing your equilibrium. I mean, the smell will knock the proverbial buzzard off the proverbial crap wagon. And so finally, the cloud of fog dissipates, and you can now see the outline of an island. And there's not one penguin, there's not 5 penguins, there's like hundreds of penguins, and it is utterly surreal and more beautiful than I can describe. Photos don't even get it. You can't stop looking. And they're in lines, like any high part of the island where the snow is like ridged up. They're standing like cavalry. And as soon as they see the boats come in, they start moving. And you see them zip up their penguin outfit, take one last and they come down to meet the ships because they're curious and they're used to these weird, tall penguins that lurch about every November. And they come right up to you like, "Rah!" And they peck your boots and they give you this dirty look because you're not like, "Rah! I can't talk to you." And so the stench is monumental, and the penguins are often just covered in crap. Just like the white, black, red, green, and brown. And they're just disgusting.
Oh, God.
And they're beautiful and dipped in crap. And so the fans are like, dipped in crap looking for a date. Amsterdam. My fellow travelers are euphoric, like, penguins, and penguins are coming up like, I'm not allowed to talk to you. And the penguins, and they're jumping in the water and they're getting out again, and they're amazing and they're so beautiful. And so every day we saw penguins, every single day, Gentoo and Chinstrap, and then one day we saw some Adelie penguins who were very cold weather animals. And so every day I stand with Bob, as Bob the geologist, I stand with Bob as he watched all these people, and he was so intense. Get a good look at this, Henry. It's all going away. You see these penguins? They're all gonna die. I went, well, what do you mean they're all gonna die? Henry, the primary food of penguins, whales, and seals is krill. Krill is fed by a thing called phytoplankton, a microscopic organism that is also responsible for 50% of the world's photosynthesis. When the fresh water melts into the salt water, it pushes the salt water down, thus pushing the plankton or the phytoplankton down, which means the krill can't get to it, which means the krill dies, the phytoplankton dies, these animals die, and eventually there's no oxygen, so you die. So I said, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die, these animals are gonna die. You see that Weddell seal way out there in that piece of ice? That animal's a goner, and so are you and I. Is there any silver lining in this cloud whatsoever? No, there's not. There's just death and water. 30 to 60% catastrophic rise in sea level. I said, Bob, I need to have a little bit of a slight sliver of a ray of sunshine in this. Let's talk about Florida for just a second. Is it possible that Florida could be visited with so much water, with water on both sides, that it could be turned into a white trash Atlantis? I'm a very serious person, and so is Bob. And so we have this stare down to see which one will break first. And he doesn't know me, so he just said white trash Atlantis and proposing that everyone in Florida drown. I'm like, do something, Bob. And eventually I wore out because I had this, I think, a look of hope on my face. Like, I'm like, Henry, you don't want anyone in Florida to die. I said, when they get covered by water, they won't die. They have gills. They'll just stand their ground under the water. And he said, you know, you're a really weird person. I said, man, you have no idea. And so I am one of the 20 people who paid the extra $20 and checked the box to do the camping trip. And so we went to an island that is full of rutting Gentoo penguins. The sun does not set. The penguins do not sleep. nor do they shut up. I am given a sleeping bag and a shovel to dig a hole, lie in the hole for like 7 hours until it's time to go back to the ship. And so I dig my hole, I'm lying there in my sleeping bag and my waterproof bivy bag outside, and I'm digging the nature scene, as Sonic Youth used to say. The glacier is beautiful, the water's beautiful, the penguins, as odiferous as they are amazing. And they would come up to the edge of my little dugout like, ah! I'm like, I can't talk to you. And so I wanted my own Antarctic first. Shackleton did his thing. I wanted to do my thing. So I decided I will be the first person to listen to Raw Power by the Stooges in this entirety at the bottom of the world. I will plant that flag at the edge of the Antarctic Peninsula, and if I survive my mission, I will write Henry McGrogan, who is the manager of Iggy Pop, otherwise known to me at least as the undisputed heavyweight champion of rock and roll. And he is the man, he is my hero, and so I'm going to let the big man know what I've done. And so I have my listening gear in my jacket. I pull it out and I listen to Raw Power for like the 30 millionth time in my life. But my earphones are not loud enough to combat the sound of penguins who are inspired by the season. And so it's half Stooges, half penguins. It was insane. Like, amazing. And I'm nodding my head and penguins are looking like, what's he doing? I'm like, you want to listen? You can't do that. Anyway, the record comes to an end. I put my gear away and I decide not to sleep because we're going to be going back to the ship in like, 6.5 hours. Why sleep? I'm on the surface of the moon. It's beautiful. Why bother sleeping? So I just lay there looking at the penguins, smelling the air, looking at the glacier, and just going, wow, this was worth every mile to get here. I'd love to come back, but I don't think I'm going to make it. And so at 6:30 in the morning, I found out, when we were woken up, I found out that I indeed had fallen asleep. A woman walked by me at 5:30 in the morning. She said, Henry, you were asleep, mouth open, it's like dead to the world, covered in snow, started snowing, with a penguin 1 inch from your face, leaning over, looking at you. It was so cute. I'm like, anyway. We dig in our hole so the penguins don't fall in and injure themselves. And we go back to the ship, and I get a 100-minute voucher for internet access. And I write Henry McGrogan, the manager of Iggy Pop. I said, Dear Henry M., 'tis I, Henry R., writing to you from the bottom of the earth, please let the undisputed heavyweight champion of rock and roll know that I have listened to Raw Power in its entirety here in Antarctic first. Let the big man know and let me know what he thinks. And I send it to Henry McGrogan. And I log back on hours later, and Henry McGrogan has written me back. Dear Henry R., 'tis I, Henry M., I am very jealous of your present location. I will let the big man know of your great Antarctic achievement, and if he gives me an opinion on said deed, I will write you back. So I just waited. I have never comported myself very well around people in music I admire, because their records simply mean too much to me. They have saved my ass too many times. So I've met a handful of my rock and roll or music heroes, and never once was I able to go, you've made some records that I really like, and thanks a lot. See ya. I stand in front like, ah! Oh! I have been tased. The first time I met Iggy Pop, it's like 1982, 1983. I'm standing in this room, there's a release party for Ray Manzarek of The Doors for his solo version of Carmina Burana, and I got invited. For me, it's free food. So the record is on and no one's listening to it, so I walked up to Ray Manzarek of The Doors. I said, Mr. Manzarek, my name is Henry Rollins. I'm in a band called Black Flag. He went, oh yeah, I know you guys. You guys are radical, man. You guys are great. I'm like, shut up. You're not. This isn't happening. But he knew who Black Flag was. And I said, no one's listening to the record, but I am. He's like, no one ever listens to records and things like this. They're just here for the free food, but thank you very much. He was very, very nice to me. So I'm standing there eating free food, stealing cans of V8 juice, and watching people come in. Iggy Pop walks in like, whoa, officer on deck. the undisputed heavyweight champion of rock and roll. I'm a big fan. And someone says, Henry, let's bring you over and have you meet Iggy. And I'll go, no, because I don't comport myself very well. I have social anxiety. I'm not good for me to meet other people. I'm the Siamese fighting fish in the bag. I'll just be the person. They go, no, Henry, you're going to meet him. And they bring me over to Iggy Pop. They said, Iggy, this is Henry Rollins. And he doesn't know me from Adam. He's like, hey, Henry, how are you, man? I'm like, And the only thing I could ask him was, have you ever played in Seattle? And he went, yeah. I went, me too, and it's great. We were there like 4.5 weeks ago, and a lot of people showed up, and I never will forget this. Iggy looked over my shoulder at someone who's standing behind me and went, like, and I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I was led away. Iggy, I was like, yes, it was really great. And years later, I was hanging out with Iggy, and I said, do you remember the first time we met? He went, no, man. I said, good! And so, I am a music thief. I steal music. And here's why I steal music, because I travel all over the world, and I want to be part of a solution, not a problem. And one of my hopey-changey solutions to the future of the world and the struggle and strife and conflict that we endure presently is I think if young people listen to music made by other young people from other parts of the world, they will start to think of the world as a place of culture, as a place of music, and they won't fear other countries, and it'll make them want to explore. Because some people in the world mistakenly think that America is the great Satan. America is not the great Satan. America is a wonderful place that gave the world the Ramones, P-Funk, Devo, Fugazi, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Duke Ellington, and on and on and on. I mean, come on. There's some parts that aren't all that admirable because there's people here. Anywhere in the world there's people, there's going to be problems. This is how we roll because we're crazy like that because we're so high functioning. But America's not a bad place, and I don't want some kid who wants to split off and join some terrorist group thinking that America is. I want him to have heard the Ramones and want to hear more. And so I travel all over the world, and I do travel all over the world, and I have a 1.5 terabyte hard drive. And whenever I meet a young person, I get their laptop and I drag and drop records onto their laptop and go like, dig those tunes and get back to me at the end of the semester. But I am stealing, and whenever I see the bands I'm stealing from, I always feel a need to confess that I am stealing their music. Because I can't just I'm not good at holding back stuff. And so I stole music from Iggy. Years ago, I was in Sri Lanka. I was in the central region of Sri Lanka in Kandy. It's Kandy with a K. It's where they grow tea. And I'm living with a family for a couple of days. And they have a 16-year-old son who recognizes me. He went, you're the guy from MTV. I went, right. And he went, let's hang out. And so we're hanging out. I said, play me some music that you're into. I want to know what you listen to right now. And he played me Sri Lankan death metal. I said, that's Sri Lankan death metal? Can I have it? And I stole all his Sri Lankan metal with my hard drive. Drag, drop, boom. And so I dropped onto his desktop a bunch of main ingredients that I think a 16-year-old person should hear 1,000,000 times. And so I left his bedroom for him to simmer in his new juices. I see him hours later at dinner, and he sits down next to me with this crazy smile on his face. He said, thank you. I said, so you liking the music, huh? He said, The Stooges, Funhouse. This is my favorite album. I said, put it there, partner. My favorite album since I was 20 years of age. And me and this kid now have a sonic alliance. I am willing to bet we are never going to see each other ever again, but we will both remember that. And that kid will never forget that album for as long as he lives. And he'll never forget the person who laid it on him. And he'll never forget the country that person came from. And maybe, just maybe, the world got a teensy-tiny bit better because rock and roll spreads and it's a good thing. And this is why I bring this hard drive around. I also have this idea that I can have a conversation with anyone wearing a t-shirt of a band that I like. I know that's insane. And I'm a very shy person, but I will test this theory every great once in a while. Earlier this year, I was in Philadelphia, and I went into a place to get a sandwich, and I got the bag with my food in it, and I'm walking out, and I see a punk rock boy and a punk rock girl. They're a couple, and they're about to order some food, and I see the boy's t-shirt. This kid has a damned, the 45, the first damn 45 for New Rose. He has an iron-on of the picture sleeve on his shirt. I love that record. So I walked up to him and I assaulted him with my finger. I poked him. I said, that's what I'm talking about. He went, what? I said, the damn. I poked him again. I said, the damn, that's what I'm talking about. He went, oh yeah. Oh, no way! No way! His girlfriend, or his friend, I think her name was Lydia, because he went, Lydia, look! And I looked at her and went, Lydia, look! And I walked out. There's no way he's going to play the New Rose single and think about it the same way ever again. And I'm no breath of fresh air in any room, but I think the world got a little bit better because me and those two people had a bit of a laugh, and maybe we can see clear because there's a little bit less tension in the world. I was in Australia twice this year, and I was there in March to do Crest for the tour I did in September, and I had a half a day off in Sydney, and so when I'm in Sydney, I go to Newtown. That's where all the record stores are. So I'm going into Repressed Records, walking towards it with my empty vinyl canvas bags, hoping for good luck. And I'm walking by, and I see a boy and a girl together, and the boy is standing like next to something, and the girl's taking the photo of him next to whatever it was, like he wants to be in the photo with this thing. He's wearing a Black Flag shirt. So I walk by, like, this is either going to go really well or really badly. And I turn away, and I walk, and I turn around, and I grab him. I kick it away from me, and all he knows is some weird old shrinking gray-haired man just grabbed him. He's like, ah, ah. And his girlfriend, all she sees is this weird old dude grabbing her boyfriend, and she's like, then she recognizes me somehow. She's like, and then he recognizes, like, oh, no way, mate, no way! And I shook their hands, I went, bah! And I walked away. I was at the gym today, I was walking out, and there's all these very big men in there working out, very strong men. And this one guy walks in, he weighs as much, he's like a boxed lunch. He's just very, very skinny, and he's got a Joy Division shirt on. He's like the goth guy in the gym. And he's just a very lean guy, and I wanted to walk up and be like, that's what I'm talking about! Because I love that record. But I decided, I better not. And maybe, so this weight's on, I don't want to get clunked upside the head with the dumbbell. Anyway, and so, sorry, Iggy. Now, I saw Iggy a while ago, and I had to confess that I stole Funhouse from him and gave it to a kid in Sri Lanka. And so I tell him the whole story. So I said, so I stole Funhouse from you, man. Are you angry? Huge smile goes across his face. Hey, Henry, man, that's so far out that you were thinking of me all the way in Sri Lanka. Thanks for thinking of me, and thanks for thinking of the Stooges. So the kid liked the record. I said, it's now his favorite album. Henry, thank you so much for taking time out of your life to think of me and to think of the Stooges. That's just really, really fantastic of you. In order to do good Iggy Pop imitation, if you ever are interested, you need to take your upper lip and wrap it over your teeth to kind of get the shape of Iggy's mouth. And I've been working on this since 1982. So, and if you can snarl up the lip to kind of get that Ypsilanti, Michigan twang that makes. But the main asset of your Iggy Pop imitation is to slow down your words towards the end of every sentence, so everything you say sounds profound. Whenever I see him, my upper lip curls over my teeth, and I think, today is the day. I'm gonna just get in his face, and I'm gonna do this. And I always check him like, hey, Iggy, good to see you again. Hey, Henry, how are you, man? I'm afraid if I ever walked and said, Iggy, close your eyes. Do I sound like you? How am I doing, Iggy? I'm afraid he'd say, Henry, that's a pretty good imitation. It took you a long time.
with it. And it's kind of funny, but mainly it's sad. Because, no offense, but I've never tried to imitate you. Well, I'm sure, Henry, you need to find out who you are before you die.
Anyway, I told Iggy, and I said, so are you mad at me that I stole from you? Like, don't I owe you like $2.35 for the dragging and dropping of Funhouse? And he said, oh, no, that's okay. What, you think I'm the drummer in Metallica? But to me, the more you listen to music, the better you get. And when these wonderful icons of music like David Bowie and Prince and people like that pass away, damn man, it hurts. I met David Bowie many years ago, and he was so nice to me. I'll never forget it as long as I live. He walked by me at a festival, and I stopped breathing. I swear my hair stopped growing. I'm like, damn, Ziggy Stardust, damn man, there goes Mr. Home behind me. Since I was 15, those records worked very well for me. He went to me, he said, Rollins. I said, David, I was terrified. He said, Henry, I read an interview you did last month in a magazine, and he proceeded to quote me back to me, like multiple paragraphs. I went numb, like, you read an interview of mine? He said, I read all your interviews, you're a fascinating person. I was like, oh, wow, no, I'm not. Now, last year in a magazine in Germany, you said this, and he proceeds to quote me again. And on the outside, I was like trying to maintain my and on the inside, I'm screaming, shut up! Shut up! Because this is as good as my life is going to get. And now, let's find some highway, find an oncoming truck, and just get taken out. Because my potential has been realized on this planet. David Bowie has read my interview. Time for me to go. I ended up having lunch with him instead. And it was really, really cool. And when these people leave the building, you don't need to meet these people. I don't go out of my way to meet the people I admire. I'm happy just to buy the records. I go to shows all the time. One of the things I got right in my life, being an old geezer as I am, is not to be proprietary of my age or what I've seen in my life. Because I know some other crusty old bastards like me, and they start to say some really stupid things, which I wish they would change their mind on. They say, Henry, these young bands just don't get it. They just don't understand. They're no good. I'm like, you know what you sound like? You sound like all those critics who used to rip us when we started making music. Oh no, I'm nothing like that. No, you have turned into that guy. I buy records all the time. I buy records by bands who are a fraction of my age. Anyone making music at this point is a fraction of my age. But I go to gigs all the time when I'm off the road in Los Angeles, and I go to small clubs, like LA, as you know, has a million small clubs, and indie bands play there all the time. I love being the oldest person in the club, and I stand at the back, doing my thing, because I don't want kids running into me because of the osteoporosis and stuff. And so the kids are doing their thing, and I'm at the back, yeah, man, awesome. And there's always a moment of comedy when the punk rock girl walks up to me. Excuse me, sir? Mr. Rollins, which basically says, you antique, you. Mr. Rollins, can we do a photo? And the punchline just waits to be dropped. And it takes like 3 seconds of silence, and then, because if my father found out I was standing next to you, he would. So we have to do the photo. We do the photo. She sends it to the dad unit. The dad texts back an expletive-laden line. No, beep, wait, are you standing next to Henry? Beep, Rollins. I thought he'd be taller.
No!
And so that's how it is. So look, here's two teensy-tiny, wafer-thin thingettes. Then I swear I'll do what I always do and be like a punk rock cicada, and I'll go into the ground for years, and then I'll resurface back at the Crest Theater.
Not so
Smells
long.
the same, looks the same, sounds the same, lights the same, as it always does. And we'll get together years from now. We'll all look better, our hair will be darker or blonder. It's gonna be fantastic. So until then, we're about to have a new president in this country who has some different ideas about governing, if he has any damn idea at all. And so, in my opinion, we, the electorate, have been left on our own. We have been oil spotted by Democracy Inc. There's good parts of that, and there are bad parts. The bad part is, I I vote. I want to be a part of this whole thing called America and American democracy. This guy seemingly doesn't want me to be all that close to it. Okay, if you have thrown me away, that's bad. But the good part is, now I don't have anyone in my way when I want to get things done. And maybe we can take the rest of 2016, what's left of it, like what, an hour and a half left of 2016, catch our collective breaths, and come back in 2017 looking to do really extraordinary things in the face of an administration that might come down very hard on women's reproductive health rights, on LGBT rights, on marriage equality, etc., etc., etc. And maybe it's time for more benefits, more goodwill, more decency, more upgrading, more people standing up and being really, really cool and charismatic and having that rub off on other people, and maybe things get better. Me, I'm spoiling for this confrontation because I know the good will always prevail over the bad, and that's why I don't lose sleep over this new guy. It's democracy. You don't always get what you want. But I think that we'll be just fine because you are here and I am here. I don't know about, because humans are tricky, but I have my full trust in you, and I trust myself to do the right thing fairly often. And so it will be challenging, but I think we're going to land on our feet in a very, very extraordinary way. And so there's that. And here's, I swear, this is the last teensy time so laugh at thing. It'll be over so fast. You'll be standing up so soon. The blood will be rushing from the upper half of your body down. Your asses, I know there's no blood in your ass cheeks right now. It's all waiting patiently in the upper part of your body going,
Please stop talking, please. Please stop talking. It's Friday. I have a life. Please, just shut up. I like you. And now I remember, now I know why you only comes to the Crest Theater every 4 years, because I need 4 years to forget how long these shows are and how numb my ass is. And now I'm a human being. Hello, I have bladder issues. Shut it.
okay, I will shut up in just a few words from now. But here's this thing. You might be wondering how this aging man who's turning into a stuffed iguana in front of you, how he can talk at a high rate of speed, hardly ever using the word or if those are words, without ever taking a sip of water. Now you notice. Here's why I don't bring water up on stage. To keep this show on track without it falling off, without notes, without anything but what's left in here, is difficult enough as it is. So any distraction is a huge distraction. So I try to eliminate it. That's why no notes, no water. Because am I thirsty? Are you kidding? I'm a human saltine right now. My blood is the consistency of motor oil. I have been thirsty for 2 hours. But I know if I bring the bottle of water on stage, it will start to speak to me. Henry, submit. You are thirsty. I will break you. I stand behind you, a container full of water. Henry, not good to be dehydrated in this situation. Rehydrate now. For me to rehydrate, I must turn my back on you to go to the water. And that's where my phobia lies. I don't fear turning my back on you, that you'll storm the stage like the Bastille and beat me up. I fear turning my back on you to get the water, and you'll all go, he's turned his back on us, we can go. Leave this building at the same rate of speed that the Romans could create the Colosseum. And I will turn around with a bottle of water in my hand, and you'll all be gone. And my heart would break into a million pieces. Because for me, this is what it's all about. This stage, and if you bailed on me, it would crush me. So no water, and that's why I talk really fast to try and pin you to your seat. I'm finally done with you. Good night, thanks.
Oh, Jesus.